API tokens are super useful for being able to use the Kestra API. And with Kestra's API first design, this makes it very, very useful for things like GitHub Actions, for example, and other CI/CD platforms where you want them to integrate with Kestra, but you don't want to give it full access to all of your workflows and all of your permissions. This is especially useful if your login for your user account is using something like SSO, where using an API becomes a little bit more challenging. You can create API tokens for both users but also for dedicated service accounts. Check out the video here to learn a bit more about how service accounts work and when you might use them. In Kestra, to be able to generate an API token, head over to your icon in the top right hand corner. Inside of here, you'll be able to click Get a Token or Profile, which will give you the same thing. In here, I'm able to see managing my API token. So here I can create a new one, and here is where it's going to ask me for information about that token, such as a name that follows the pattern of lowercase characters with a dash and only starting and ending with alphanumerics. So I can set my API token to be API token like so. I can say that this is for testing the API, and I can say this should expire after 24 hours. If I press generate now, it's going to provide me with my token, which I can copy like so, and then press OK. And I can see that these tokens are valid or invalid using this nice menu here. Here's an example of where I can execute this workflow here, hello world, by simply using the API. Now, if I wasn't using the API with this API token, it would not work. So when I do this, we can see it's successful, and when I go to executions, we can see that it has just created that execution. We can see here from the execution that it was successful. If I run this without the API token, it will simply fail because it has no authentication or authorization. So if I go back to executions, we can see that there are no more executions created from this time. So that's where this API token become really useful if you're starting to integrate Kestra with third-party services that are triggering your workflows for you, or maybe reading them or adding workflows to Kestra, such as a CI/CD platform. Hopefully you found that useful and you're going to start using API tokens inside of your Kestra instance. If you want to learn more about how you can use API tokens with a service account, check out the video here too.